Cam, Ebon Cam, Ebon Kim, 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 Ebon Cam, Ebon Kim, Ebon Cam, Ebon Kim, Ebon Cam, Ebon Cam, Ebon Cam, Ebon Cam.
All right, looks like we're on. Um, so today I'm just gonna talk and not really have much important to say. I mean, these things are actually the important things, which is funny because everyone gets the idea that the serious things in life are what's important, but they kind of forget the whole picture. Anyway, some things that I do want to share. Let's go by order. Let's see what this photo has. So, this was on the 22nd of August, and there's just been some really weird cloud formations lately. You know, whatever you want to call it, whatever's happening, it's pretty unusual. And I think there's a video that I also took, and there's also more photos, but I'm not sure which ones they are, so I need to actually take a better look and see what we're seeing. Okay, so let's go to 27 and 57. Okay, here's a photo. I think this is on the 27th. What day is today? I don't even know what days it is. Today's the 29th. No, wait. Yeah, today's the 29th. It's almost the 20th or 30th, whatever. But yeah, here's another one. This was in Iowa. My family went camping. First time, one of our two cousins, my daughter's two cousins, went camping. This is the first time all the cousins, at least the girls that are kind of old enough to go camping, to enjoy it, went camping. And yeah, so if you guys don't think this is like a real photo, I even took a video recording.
Marshmallows! Speaking of marshmallows, we brought stuff.
I mean, those look like marshmallows. So did we.
So, did I do it? Or I just brought enough cash for one.
Anyways, I mean, just check that out. That's just incredible. I mean, the depth in it. They have some weird swirls. I don't know what those are. Very puffy. You know, I've never seen something like that in my entire life. What I've probably seen as far as cloud formations in the last week. So something is up with that. I mean, that's just crazy. Anyways, let's see what other cool things. Okay, 36. So there's one of our neighbors was giving out this computer desk for free. This is the model number. I'm kind of sorry that I didn't take a picture of it before, but you know, my wife saw it, but she didn't tell me. And then when I was taking my kids to school, they actually saw it, and it's like, hey, maybe we should take that. And my daughter was like, hey, you know, maybe I can use it as my desk, you know. And so I did. I took it home. This is kind of what it looked like. This was the top of it. So basically, it's some. Gosh, I always forget what the words are sometimes. It's particle board with laminate over it. So on top of here was just where you would put. It kind of extends out a little bit, like a little raised platform, and that's where you would put your monitor. But my kids are short, so they're not going to be needing a tall monitor. Plus, I have an old touchscreen monitor that they use on a swivel, so they can move the swivel around and get closer to the touchscreen and the monitor and use it that way. So I figured I was just going to redo the whole thing. Taking the laminate off wasn't going to help because the particle board, because it was outdoors. It got weather. You could definitely see. So a lot of the particle board started swelling up and whatever. So that was horrible desk. There were screws missing. There's nothing I reused except for the metal part. The metal part, as you can see right here, is this. The frame. So basically, I kept that. There's a little dent here. I fixed that up a little bit so it wasn't jutting out anymore. This is a... so I measured everything. This was a 2 by 3 feet, and it was 3/4 depth. And that was the same exact size as this one right here, right? But they didn't sell any of those at the hardware store, so I just got a 2 by 4 and cut off a 1 by 4 part. And that's what this part is, and that swivels out, so you could put the keyboard mouse on it. So I'd had to drill all the holes. Well, for here it was an easy just screw that ties into this little slide out thing, and then the slide out gets hooked onto the table. I first bought a bunch of screws and washers to just screw it into the wood, but I was actually able to get parts of the locks inside the wood out of the main desk, the main top table part. Anyways, I just measured all the holes from the sides and between each other from the old one, and luckily I only needed to do it once, so tightened everything up, everything fit, so now it was perfect. I had the edges were very sharp corners, so I cut those corners off, rounded the edges with some tools, sandpaper mostly, and the top and the bottom parts, I went ahead and rounded those off because those are sharp angles too. Anyways, so everything's nice and sandpapered. Anyways, so the kids wouldn't be able to get themselves cut or hurt on any of these, especially if they're running around jumping. So it's great. I think it was like $37 for the board before taxes and fees and whatnot. So getting able to do this is awesome. I mean, it's funny to think of it like, back when I was making a lot of money. I think I don't make any money anymore. But, when I was making money, I would have just bought a computer desk, probably like a $200 one, and it wouldn't have $300 ones, $400. It wouldn't have mattered what the cost was. I would have just gotten it. But now that I don't make any money, getting something for free and building it with my hands, my daughter, my son, and my wife knows how much effort I did to get it ready. It was 2 days of effort, but man, it was hot. I was working in 98-degree weather when I first got it. Was working on getting everything together part, the wood, getting all the holes to fit and sawing it off. I had to take like a break every 2 to 5 minutes just to go inside, cool off, come back, do the same thing. I was drenched in sweat. Anyways, it felt great to have this done. My daughter was happy to have it. He took a picture, finally got her computer parts from the basement, put the desk in her room, put the computer, set up the computer, got everything set up, the keyboards there, the mouse, speakers, external sound card, to adjust the volume here. It's all touchscreen, so now she doesn't have to just play on the pad or have to go downstairs in the basement where I am right now, and it gets really hot and humid, or it gets really cold and humid during the winters, and it's just kind of cluttered and whatever. She has her room. Now she could study, do her homework on it if she wanted to. She could push the monitor back. This is what I'm talking about, the swivel mount. so she could push the monitor back, slide that back, slide the speakers back if she wanted, and just work on the table there. When she gets big enough, maybe I'll find a better desk. I don't know where we'd have the room, but then my son Roland could go ahead and use it for his personal computer desk. Anyways, for a couple of years, I would say that she'd be perfect using that and the monitor as well and the computer. It's so weird being able to, way back and build computers and stuff like that. And this was only a B2 grade thing, and unfortunately, I was working on something, and I think something happened there, but it's not too bad. It's only in the corner. The A grades are plenty expensive, especially wood prices these days. It could have been probably like $10 to $15 like a year and a half ago, that board that I bought, but things have changed. But with figuring out the tools, I just kind of had to make do with whatever I had. I was able to do it pretty well. She's happy with it. My wife thinks it was great. I have a feeling, I could probably build a whole wooden desk, instead of just finding free pieces of stuff that's out here. But I like it. I think it's not too sturdy, but it makes me think, if I built my own from scratch, I could probably do it, and I feel comfortable and confident doing it without messing up. I wish wood was cheaper. That way I could buy like a harder wood to work on. You could put stuff on this table and it might indent a little. I think I may have to give it a second sanding in a year or two. If not, I was thinking I was just going to probably get some type of glass, like tempered glass that's, kind of thin, not too thin, to break easily, even though tempered glass doesn't break easily. But just enough so it has a smooth surface and won't break or shatter very easily. If not that, some type of, although I don't like plastic, polyethylene, is great for stuff like that. But, I didn't want to get, like, what was it, MVP or whatever it is. Just a lot of stuff that kind of leaches out the fumes. Wood is great. So we'll see how it goes. And if all else fails, I know I already I saved the measurements, so I can just go ahead and get another 2x4, cut it down, sand it, and maybe by then I'll find tools that will make it a lot quicker and easier to do. All of this was by hand saw and sandpaper. Let's see what else. We got a puppy. You can see this was the she's still being potty trained and number 2 trained. I just found it ironic once she pooped in the playroom, and this was I think this was my son's. And I could tell by the way he colors. He doesn't color as cleanly as my daughter does. And I found it funny because she pooped on the paper. No matter what you step in, keep walking along and singing your song because it's all good. Pete the cat. Oh, man. First time I was actually satisfied with poop in the house. In a way, just because I could share this. So here's a picture of the puppy when she was sleeping. So the story of this puppy is the Paws and Claws was the adoption center, and they had a big influx of stray animals, kittens. I didn't know how cheap kittens were, but they're selling kittens for $20. I'm pretty sure you probably had to pay more taking him to the vet and shots and stuff. So This puppy's name was Pauline. We renamed her to Maple, and I think Maple's a good name. At first we were thinking Mabel, but I kind of like Maple just because it has a little bit more enunciation. She's the color of maple trees, maple syrup and stuff. Um, she's great. Her mother was, they said, was a boxer mix, but we couldn't quite see a lot of the boxer traits. So I'm thinking she's probably like a quarter boxer, maybe less than that. She definitely has looks like a um, I forgot, Coonhound or Rhodesian Ridgeback without the ridge, Vizsla, Banana Sleek. So I could we would guess that she's got a lot of bloodhound in her. She sniffs. She loves to sniff, so that's good. She's food excited, so she's very trainable. I think the last, I don't know, how long have we had her? A week and a day. I've always trained a lot of dogs, just growing up with a lot of them. She knows how to sit. She knows how to wait. I'm teaching her to lay down. She knows how to jump up. And those are like the commands to, help her not be going too crazy everywhere. She's been good about going potty outside if we just take her out and she'll go. But of course, as puppies, they can't hold it in. I think the general rule of thumb is however old a puppy is, month-wise, that's how long in hours they can hold their potty. So if they're 6 months old, they can hold their potty for 6 hours if they needed to. But since she's 6 weeks, going on 7 weeks, she can hold it for about 2 hours if she's awake. If she's asleep, she can hold it in a little bit longer. So we know a lot of potty and poopy in the house is gonna occur. Plus, when we had her, first thing she did was vomit in the car, so she got car sick. And she had a lot of diarrhea, so a lot of runny poop, and wasn't good. So hopefully she gets better at that. I've been taking her to school when I drop off my kids and pick them up, so she's been getting better in the car. She doesn't throw up anymore. She threw up once, not in the car, but right when I took her out because she was about to puke. I stopped, got her out of the car. She puked outside. She partied once or twice in the car too, but that was like the first 2 days, 3 days since we had her. Now she's pretty good. She rides the car, doesn't go potty, doesn't need to puke. She sometimes likes sticking her head out the window. Otherwise, if her bed's in the car, she'll just sleep in the car on the long trips. So she's good with that now. Kind of interested to see what she learns with her ability to smell good. I wonder if she'd be able to smell, and if I decide to ever go hunting for certain types of birds, if she'd be able to be trained to help hunt with me. Just basically point out where the birds are, and I'll be ready to shoot. We'll see how it goes. It'd be a new experience for her and me as well. But I think the only one who would actually eat any of the meat that we hunt is just me and her. I don't think my son or my daughter, and definitely my wife, won't be interested in eating meat. Okay. And one of the funny things she's been doing, she does an army crawl. Come on, Maple. I don't get it. So why do you do that? So she's just on her belly and just crawling. Army crawl. It just cracks me up. I don't know why she does it, but it's funny. So, great addition to the family, and thoroughly enjoying our time with her. That's kind of it as far as updates. I mean, don't know what else to say. It's just been fun. Yeah, let's leave it at that. That's kind of a nice picture. I guess I could go with the Bear stuff. I'm not gonna do. I'll probably do some Bear stuff. This was a long time ago, a week ago. I haven't really worked on the new data. I'm sure the new data is out already. I could probably look into it again. It's just things I'll do every once in a while, but it's like I'm not really gonna focus on it and make it like a regular thing. The reason is I've been trying to, I don't know, use the term awaken or get people to wake up or stop being brainwashed. I don't know what terms to call it anymore. But it doesn't matter what source I use, especially if it's the source comes from the horse's mouth directly. People don't care. Not to mention, basically the people who still watch my stuff. You guys know what's going on. People who don't, and they tune in for a few minutes or even a few seconds. It doesn't matter how long I make my videos or how short. They're just gonna not watch again. They're like, whatever, this is crazy territory, weird stuff, conspiracy theory, what have you. Not only that, I'm pretty sure that my videos are shadow banned. I've known that all for a long time now. I can name and put content in that's exactly the same as content that gets like tens of millions of views. It won't even show up when you search for it. It won't show up. You actually have to type my name and then those keywords, and then it'll show up maybe like 7th or 8th or 9th in the results section, and no one's really looking there. I mean, here I got a live stream with one viewer and no one chatting. I could do, I don't know, I could probably do something that's stupid. People start showing up, like 10s and 20 people, whatever, but that's not really going to do anybody any good. But those quote unquote serious things actually aren't that serious. Most people just want to be entertained because there's really not much out there anymore. There's a reason why there's a lot of creative projects that I wanted to do. I don't really want to share things because here's the thing. The archons, rulers of this, I would just say, I don't know. I don't like saying the word reality or world, but they don't have anything creative. And I don't know. There's so many words to use. I don't want to say think. I don't want to say feel or imagine, but I have to use one of those words. But basically, they are trying to grab anything that's creative that they cannot think for themselves, that's actually in what you would call a better place, better realm, a better reality, a better world, and they want it here. And they'll just recycle it in numerous ways as they can, but they can't think of it for themselves. And it's okay. It used to be shared and it used to be great, and it was, I don't know if you would call it privilege or an honor or whatever, but they would actually, it was worth bringing something creative and let it loose in this world, in this realm, in this reality, whatever you want to call it. But not now, not anymore. I mean, a lot of people who have probably got burnt. A lot of people who have, sold out, probably doing things they didn't want to do, and they still have to do it to just live the way that they, or live a life where they're not afraid to die and all this other jazz. There's nothing. I know there's a few people who do tune in and listen every once in a while. They like some of the stuff that I put out. Maybe they could convince someone else. Hey, look, we gotta know what's going on. But basically, not much really affects things around me, and I have a couple guesses or ideas or possibilities as to why, but I can't prove it. And if I say it, it would just sound so wacky. It's like, why even go there? So I'm still kind of testing the waters, seeing how it goes. I've been making a couple of tinctures. I may have mentioned that before. One of the tinctures I've been making is ayahuasca. I took the ayahuasca tincture made out of 80 proof, what do you call it, vodka, a great vodka, and I put it in the fridge. It's not freezing, it's probably about 38 degrees Fahrenheit, for 15 days, so half a month. I've got a couple other tinctures that I've made, not of ayahuasca, but say of yarrow and sage and nettle, with apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to have them rest for about 30 days. I mean, after a certain point in time, you're going to extract all of it into the liquid, either the alcohol or the vinegar. So, taking out early, you may not be able to extract a lot of it, but if you leave it in longer, it really doesn't make a difference. So if I left it out if I forget how long time has passed, I'll just leave it out for a month or 2 months or 3 months, whatever. Then I'll go ahead and filter all that stuff out and just keep the tincture in the fridge. I don't have to. I could just place it in a cool enough dark area where the sun doesn't mess with it, and as long as it's airtight, it's good. Even if it's not airtight, it's okay. But I took my first tincture. It was 1 milliliter, and I didn't swallow it. I just took it as a sublingual. So basically, you just leave it in your mouth, swirl it around. It gets absorbed through your skin. Like underneath the tongue is like a big spot, I guess. So I took that. I guess this is gonna be my journal. I have such good memory that I don't really need to keep a journal, but I think I may have to. Excuse me. And there's a lot of other things that I'll probably be making tinctures of, even smoking, and try it out and see what the experiences are. But one of the coolest things about the ayahuasca tincture, I didn't have to purge. I didn't really ingest anything. One of the things when you take ayahuasca, or at least when you hear, I read stories that when certain tribes took ayahuasca, and especially when people ask, hey, how did you figure out that this concoction does this stuff? Like, how did you know what right amounts that you needed to do? And the shamans and stuff would say, well, ayahuasca, the vine told us, the mother ayahuasca, right? It's like, most people go, it's just weird. Like, how does that happen? So I took the tincture, 1 milliliter, did not swallow it, kept it in mouth for, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes. It was as long as I could until I felt like it wasn't gonna do much more than that. One of my thoughts was I should probably heat the tincture because it's still, 80 proof alcohol, and you don't really want to mix alcohol with the ayahuasca, is to heat it up so you can dissipate the alcohol. And so all it is just a tincture, because if you get rid of the alcohol is basically used as a preservative in the tincture. So instead of when I'm ready to use it as a sublingual or otherwise, is as long as I heat the alcohol and heat that part off, so I don't have the alcoholic after effects, and that would just make the experience better. And so I think it's 172 degrees Fahrenheit, just before boiling, to get rid of the alcoholic part of alcohol. So I'll do that the next time. And let's see. 1 milliliter was not enough. I think 2 milliliters is what I need to experience something. So that's going to be my next one. So basically the next time 2 milliliters instead of 1 milliliter. And I'm going to boil the alcohol out of it before I use it sublingually. See how things go. So basically the effects seem to have been about 45 minutes to an hour. Wasn't that long. I mean, that's just 1 milliliter of the tincture. That's actually quite a good amount of time. And I think it was like 85 grams to 50 grams. So it was quite a lot. But as far as tinctures, I may not need it that much. But I'm doing it that way. See if there's a difference. I like to save as much as I can, make it go a good length of time. The first 15 minutes was a little weird, drowsy. I don't know if that was because of the alcohol or if it was the ayahuasca or just the interference of both. And then the next 30 minutes was, it wasn't visionary at all. I didn't see any visuals. However, what I did experience was the idea I was there almost in some way, just relaxed, totally relaxed. It was an enjoyable experience. It wasn't like a full ayahuasca experience. It was just, and then I'm almost there, not quite. I feel the togetherness. I'm sorry. The biggest takeaway that I remember and to impart is like, I remember thinking or feeling whatever it was. This is just a different state. We all get to a different state, but that's not correct, because state implies separateness, and we're never separate. So being in a different state of mind, state in like a country, whatever, just that the term state, the word state, we're not that. Better way to put it is that we're just in a different mix. Liquid was just kind of running through my consciousness. The idea of, when you're in liquid or water, basically when you're a part of it, you're just, and things are different, is you're just in a different mix. You're not in a different state, because a mix implies togetherness, state implies separateness. So I think one of the things that I want to make sure is to specify the togetherness. So whenever I think of consciousness or whatever term that's going to be used, is to use the term different mix of consciousness, different level of mixing, whatever it is. That's the only thing I was able to bring back. That's just 1 milliliter. That's not a lot of the tincture. So when I'm ready, I kind of want to get my diet okay. Plus, now that the puppy's around, things are different. So I just gotta be. I think around this time, maybe 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago would be perfect. To try the second tincture amount. See how that goes. I'm wondering if it's going to be the same amount of time, about 45 minutes to an hour. Or if it's going to go longer, or maybe it stays the same to 45 minutes to an hour, but the effects are deeper. Like maybe it becomes more visual, maybe more peaceful, whatever. Just see where that goes. And once I reach that spot, I think I like it. It's not here. The difference that I don't maybe feel, maybe think is that it's not a fully healing experience. If you really want to have the mother ayahuasca experience, you're just gonna have to drink the tea and purge yourself. That purge process is the healing part of your physical body. I hate using that term physical now, but you know what I mean. Your material body. So, yeah, I think, what I'm trying to do is just see what insights that I can bring back and share. And it's just going to share with, the only people who care are probably going to be like the few, like 2, 3, 4 individuals that really want to know. It's not going to end up being a lot of people watching or listening to know. I mean, isn't it funny how a couple years and a couple different topics change just the amount of people who want to listen and watch and participate? So much other things to do, but for me, like, I kind of feel like playing a game. I think I can go play a game and then go to bed and do some reading. There's a book. There's someone that wrote a book that I want to do an interview with. Kind of hesitant a little bit. One of the people I need to share. I need to show the video. Maybe I'll do it here. Let's do. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that part. John Lamb Lash is the name. But Jenny Wait or something? Yeah. Right. I don't know if this is John Lamb Nash's thing or not. But one of the things that John Lamb Lash has been going about a lot is very egocentric. And yeah, here it is. He had some good insight, but a lot of it's just focused on himself. You can see this entire video that's 30 minutes and a half long. It's about him, not David Icke. His work, attributed, whatever. Basically every video of his. And I did a response, take a trip to Mother Ayahuasca. His demiurgic ego is getting ahead of him. But at least he acknowledges it, but he attributes it wrongly. The Aeon Sophia does not care about ego, only love for others, not the self, which is what ego is. It's a form of narcissism. Basically the bigger part of ego is being narcissistic. having a lot of love for others, being emphatic and just caring, whatever, is the opposite. You really don't care. You suffer for the well-being of those you love. Anyways, love may only come from freedom, the source. Ego does not come from freedom, but control. Take this advice so you will lead a cult for their contact forces. Maybe just in terminology they may understand. And I was expecting a reply, and it came in the way that I knew it would. First his name is Lash. I misspelled it. I was thinking of like Steve Nash. Lash. Secondly, he's done ayahuasca at least 6 times. At least. It's like, I only need to take it 3. It's not really a contest, though. How would I know? Or she goes, how would you know what the Aeon Sophia cares about? Yeah, I have a good idea. I mean, he's saying... what's funny, ironic, is that you had to have some type of credentials to know something. So you could know a lot of things without having absolutely no credentials. In fact, having credentials is a big limiting factor of what you're capable of knowing. But because of those credentials, and you want to keep those credentials and whatever, you have to stay away from certain knowledge and things like that. How do you know? It's like, I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of people who have known and currently know and will know what the Aeon Sophia cares about. Basically, it's just, if you want to think, it's hard to think abstract. It's hard to think beyond the concepts that are set forth, and basically a concept into a human being that can display certain actions of that. It's like when we put animals that act like humans. I forgot what those terms are called in English literature, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. It just makes it more easily relatable to the language that it's thrown about. And goes, and you know more than John Lamb and Lash, her Turton. I might want to rethink about being her Turton. Because I don't think ego focuses, what she likes. Fourth, it is insanity to capitalize ego, love, freedom, source, control in the middle of your sentences. It's to emphasize those key words and points and sometimes concepts. And if they weren't capitalized, that's a problem. And Jeannie Thwaite doesn't understand the problem. Fifth, who asked for your advice? Well, no one. I just freely give advice to those that need it. That they really, basically that need it. I mean, I don't know how else to do it. It's like a heroin addict. Who asked for your help? It's like, you might want to just step back a little bit. 6, so you know more about the archontic forces. Again, extraneous capitalization. The John Lamb Lash does. Even up to this point, it's like, cult. What is a cult? Basically, someone you believe in so strongly can do no wrong. You cannot ever be better than that person. They're probably like part of God or God, whatever. That's what a cult is, of controlling forces. It's Ginny Thwaite, who I think is John Lamb Nash, is or at least a very coveted member of his cult. Right. He introduced the term Archon as it is known by the likes of David Icke, Archon has deep etymological roots. It's been around for a long time. Heck, there's like Commodore 64 video game called Archon that was way before John Lamb Lash was talking about it. It's been in a lot of literature way before he was born too. But let's not go there. You know, it's not a contest. You know, it's more than even just the Gnostics. There's a lot more than just Gnostics who have the idea of the demiurge. You could go as far as before even Manichaeanism, Zoroastrianism, and you know, even before that, R.C. Zahner with you know, when he had that helper or whatever. You know, a lot of this has been passed down, and you could even probably go back as far as certain aspects of Buddhism and Hinduism. And we're going to get to some of those things. That's going to be kind of interesting. I think I had something to present. I'm just going to loosely say it here just because I really don't want to spend too much time into it. While I'm finding it, I'll go on and excuse me, keep going. But you know more, evidently. Well, I didn't say that. It's you know, evidently that's, you know, I never mentioned that I knew more. I was just stating you could do well with something. Seventh demiurgic ego. How on Gaia's green earth did you work out the ego is demiurgic? That is priceless. No, the ego is not demiurgic. I said specifically the demiurgic ego. Basically, it's like the creator ego. It's the artist's ego. It's if you're an artist or if you're basically a translator for someone, you don't take credit for that. You know, it's like you're the messenger. You don't take credit for the message. At most, you could take credit for being the messenger of getting the message out. And the demiurgic ego is when you start taking credit as the messenger of what the message, that this is your message in a way that no one else can spread it. No one else can send out the message. You know, once it's released, it's like, hey, here, I'm here to deliver this message to everyone. But if anyone else spreads that message, well, you have done bad. You must accredit me as the messenger, who's the one who let it out, you know? It's just, I don't think Jeannie Thwaite understands through ignorance. I don't know if that's the word. Maybe that's the correct word, but eighth, only love for others, not the self, is completely wrong. No, you've got an opposite. See, I don't know if they're truly ignorant or if they are now on the other side, right? I think that might be the case. They've gotten to the control side. They've gone to the control side. Or they're ignorant. I don't think they're ignorant because they understand a couple of things. But in totally wrong... hard to say it. The wrong way, the wrong feel, it's just not sitting good. If you can't love yourself, how can you begin to love others? Well, if you can't love others, you can't love yourself. You can love yourself and not love others. And that is narcissistic ego You're going to love yourself, and I have empathy for anyone else, love anyone else. So it boggles the mind that Ginny Thwaite, whoever it is, states that self-love is the most important journeys in life. No, it is not. That again is the demiurgic ego or narcissistic ego personality. It is the worst journeys in life where the vibration into nothingness just by loving yourself and no one else, having no constant is if you don't learn it before that time is by that before that action, whatever occurs, you're gonna learn the hard way, and that's it. You can't learn it again. It's done. But if you would have taken it at least 3 times, on your 3rd time you should have learned a lesson. Here's the thing with ayahuasca. It shares, Mother Ayahuasca shares the same thing to everyone who takes ayahuasca. There's something, once you understand, once you're past a certain point, whether it's probably you have to destroy your ego. All right, let's break it down. All right, my 3rd ayahuasca trips, all I needed was 3. First lesson, main lesson is you could tell the Mother Ayahuasca's pain. You got the empathy. She's protective. She guides you through the entire process. She understands that you're coming. You realize a lot of these things, that there's a power within you that you're capable of. You are part of this greater. You are I wouldn't say you. It's part of the whole, and that part is great. As great as the whole is. Whole as not in a hole like a hole in the ground, but a hole as in like a whole pizza pie type of thing. The second one is like your death of ego, forgiveness of others, even when they've done you wrong. A lot of Jesus vibes there, I don't like saying Christ, but a lot of these things you'll learn in a lot of good mythological tales. But it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're gonna learn to be humble, because everyone dies. And there is a final death, and it's horrible. It's the worst thing ever, because it's hopelessness. I mean, one of the things with death here, when you experience death here, and you're not experiencing the final death, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't realize what's going to happen. Imagine you're given all the knowledge. It's like you're given all the answers right before you die, and you realized, I didn't listen to any of it. I heard it, never agreed with it, never gave it a second thought. I didn't care even if it was going to be true. Denied it, whatever it is. You just ignored it. You just didn't care. Didn't want to believe it or whatever. Like, it didn't sit true to you. Well, you're going to get all that information and go, I don't care. I'm just going to it's not going to change me. And then you'll realize you've got all this power in the world. So much power. But that power, what you don't realize is no one cares about the power that you have. And you can't do anything with it because that power has to be contained, and you can't contain it. The more you do contain it, it's going to be uncontrollable. And you can vibrate away into nothing. So you have to release all that power, you know, release all that control when you become weak. And when you become weak, you realize, well, if you stay still, you're going to die. But if you don't stay still and you try to contain the power, you're going to vibrate away to nothingness, which is just the final death. So no matter what, it's like you're screwed. You'll eventually realize that, hopefully not before it's too late, but just in time, so you realize, hey, okay, things have got to be a little bit different here. So that is why that's important. A third one is that you don't want to experience even a taste of that. I think that ayahuasca trip, that felt like eternity, but probably like only an hour or two passed, you know. Once I even gotten past that point, it was like 2 to 4 hours to get out of it, but it still felt like long time. So after my second ayahuasca experience, I took my third one a couple months to a year, maybe even longer, I can't remember. And that was of confronting your fear, the fear of that final death, the fear of that eternal suffering type of thing. It's like you chance it, you know. It's like, I don't want that experience again, but I'm going to anyway. It's like I'm pretty confident of my constant, my love that I have for the ones I care about, you know, and they hold that. They help you contain that power. You don't have to do it at all. So you don't have to fear from the vibration away into nothingness. You don't have to fear of letting it all go, to be still and just bear the physical death. So yeah, those are the things that you understand if you've gone through the ayahuasca experiences. If you haven't learned at the 6 times that you've done it, you've got a lot of work to do. So like I was saying, Mother Ayahuasca will reveal the same thing to everyone. And those are the things that everyone will experience. But she will only reveal certain things to yourself that you need to know in order for you to heal in a certain way that you wanted to heal. So, you know, those are for people themselves to handle. This, the stuff that I've had to learn, everyone else could learn. Everyone else probably have learned, and others will eventually. But this right here goes to show, yeah, John Lamb Lash hasn't. Let's see. And 9th, do comment here again with more incoherent, incompetent, bad grammar, badly spelled, insane shite. The irony is insane. Can't wait. You are fucking hilarious. The hilarity is actually the other way around. I am enjoying it. I don't really feel like I want to stop following. I just want to keep listening to to how things go, whether it turns out good or if it goes down a darker, more horrible path. The other thing is, oh my goodness, John Lamb Lash. I'm just gonna start calling him John Lamb Nash. Just sounds so much like Tokyo Shimp or Seth Lewis Allen, right? That funny guy, the narcissist guy. It's like, I wonder if like all narcissists sound the same. You know, do they have that same voice, the same funny way of speaking? Just curious to know if that's the case, because if it is, oh my goodness, that is one for the ages. I don't know. Okay, let's see. When did I trying to find? Let's move out of this one. This is just kind of boring. Let's see, 8:25. Okay, here we go. This is a good one. One of the cool things, right? I think I talked about this in a different show. Just briefly. The show was talking about NPCs, and of course, my NPC videos got taken down by YouTube. But the modern equivalent, or the historical equivalent to modern day NPCs, is just fate. Like NPCs are stated as being programmed. Well, if you take the idea of fate and destiny, like in ancient Greece, that's still programming. In a way, it's just different. Like, it's been set by God or higher powers or what have you, and no matter what you try to do, your fate is gonna happen no matter what, until you wake up. Now we're gonna see these instances where you wake up, and these instances where you want to stay in the program. And you can relate it to the Matrix, the movie, and all that other stuff. The Gnostic tales go over it in some ways. Now, in the Iliad, a lot of people understand Achilles, the Achilles heel. You know, most people watch the movie Troy with Brad Pitt as Achilles. Well, he had a destiny. He had a fate. And the fate was, well, let's see, who was given it was Achilles, I think, was giving Achilles a choice between either a long and obscure life, you know, and at home, or death at Troy and everlasting glory. So basically, you're going to be unknown, right? Obscure life. No one knows going to be who you are. You're going to live a long life and at home, wherever you want to dwell. That's waking up from the Matrix. That's getting out of your NPC programming. That's tapping out of your fate and your destiny. You're actually given a choice. Even back then in ancient Greece, you're given a choice. Even today, NPC programming, Matrix part, however you want to describe it, it's still another choice. Now, most people don't like taking that. They're worried what other people think of them. They're worried that they're going to get fired for thinking a certain way. They're worried that they may be taken into an insane asylum or something like that for just thinking a certain way, which may be like 20, 30 years before it was perfectly sane and normal to think that way. But things change. Times change. So what did Achilles do? Well, Achilles took the fate, the destiny that awaited him. He wanted the fame and glory, and that death where everyone's gonna know his name and his accomplishments and things like that. He stayed with the programming. And there's a lot of things that got him to that point, but that's just a way of, like, if you think of the similar types of stories, that's very where people are given a choice. Jesus was given a choice. First off, he was given a choice to like beautiful women, whatever. Eventually Satan offered him the entire world, right? And then when that didn't happen, then Satan sent armies or something, right? Very, very similar to Buddha and Mara. So Mara tempts Buddha with beautiful women. And when Buddha rejects that, turns 180 and says, okay, well, I'm going to create an army of monsters and scare you with that. And Buddha goes, no, I reject that too. So now if you go to Hinduism, it's very similar in many ways with Arjuna. Arjuna was a prince, and if you read, was it the Bhagavad Gita? That was part of the Mahabharata. I forget. It's been a long time since I read that. But basically, it's a very similar choice. So now we've got ancient Greece connection with, I don't know, modern Christianity, New Testament with Buddhism, and now Hinduism. Okay. But all of those choices, they rejected the offers. They rejected the material offers, and also rejected the scare tactic. It's like, first we're going to gift you to stay. We're going to give you whatever you want. You like the babes? Here's some babes. You like the 72 virgins? Here's the 72 virgins. Hey, you don't like any of that stuff? Well, you know what? I've got my henchmen. You better turn tail and run. It's like, no. I'll be like End of Vanilla Sky. I'll be like the Matrix. Neo. Nothing's gonna hurt you or kill you. You'll realize that. And I don't know. It's not suicidal tendencies. It's like, I'm waiting for that time that comes. Like, hey, send your forces to me. Let's have that great battle. Send 1, send 2, send 10, send 20, send an army. Take me out of this existence, this reality, this world, this realm, whatever. I'm still waiting. And I think it's because I'm expecting it. It doesn't happen. I don't understand it. But yeah, I mean, if there's really nothing to live for, well, there's nothing to live for. You can go out trying to destroy a world that has nothing to live for. So there's this weird stance of, well, can't change the world, and the world's going to be so horrible, no one would want to live in it. So why would I want to keep the world going or give it anything good where that's what it wants? And it's like, there's nothing good being returned back. It's just a one-way system. I did a whole video on it. And if you want to go back and listen to that, that's worth it. That way I don't have to regurgitate the same thing in this one. Don't really know what else to say. Let's see. I think what's interesting, a lot of people that I've been listening to, watching, even speaking with in some ways, there's a term for it in Buddhism, the Pratyeka Buddha, they awaken and they just want to go. They'll live their life in obscurity, not trying to share what's going on to the world. And they leave. And that's fine. But then if you really, really have love for others and empathy, you want to stay. And those are typically called bodhisattvas. They've reached enlightenment, goes, you know what? It's not fair for me to reach enlightenment and have everyone else suffer for a long time. I'm going to help them get out. Very much like Neo in the Matrix and Morpheus as well as Trinity. They're helping everybody get out of the Matrix. Is that self-sacrifice is just waiting. And I think that's why the final lesson in ayahuasca is so important. Is the entire process of waiting for everyone to awaken, to get out of this prison, is like an eternity of suffering. You're gonna, it's like trying not to dissipate from vibrating into nothingness or dying the physical death of stillness. Is like, if you can endure that for what seems like an eternity, then coming back and trying to help others and die, and coming back and trying to help others awaken yourself and help others awaken and die, and etc., and doing that until finally everyone's out, that will feel like very easy. It's like if you tried something that's very difficult first, and then you go back and do it like the harder mode and the normal mode and the easy mode, it's just like a piece of cake. I think that's kind of why whenever I played games, I'd always play on the hardest difficulty and see how well I could do and get better. And then finally I stepped down to like second hardest level of difficulty, and I'm able to win. It's like, all right, now I just need to perfect a way that, play with the hardest difficulty, see if I can get that right and win. And, eventually that may happen, or maybe it won't. But at least I could say, hey, at least I feel competent enough to play it this way at this difficulty, where others will go from like, say, easy or medium or easy or normal, and then they'll go to the harder one. They can't do anything. It's just too difficult. So it's just the opposite approach. Okay, let's see. I don't know what else to say. I think that's it. I'm going to... there's a lot more I could go deeper into, but basically... probably do something more formal as far as getting that type of information out. But you know what? Just take that information, make your own videos. I really don't care as long as the message is out. So... hopefully you enjoyed this solo talk. I would typically just open it up to other people to talk, but I did that the last 2 times. Nobody joined. I think the optimum time is maybe Friday night. I think it seems to be the night where people are like, okay, I'll go ahead and join and talk. So maybe I'll just do those little like freedom talk things. Come in and talk, on Friday nights where people can join. Otherwise, it's just going to be this type of stuff. I may eventually do, another piece of something or another talk, or give the tincture revelation out to people. Trying to have a couple of conversations with others and to see where the conversation goes. There's just so much, I don't know what you call it. You could call it coincidences, signs signs, I guess you could say. And at this point, the game's gotten easy. It's like, I feel like I was on the hardest difficulty and said, screw it, I'm not going to play anymore. And then it's like, okay, we'll put it on harder difficulty. It's like, okay, I'm actually doing well. You know, it still sucks. It has some moments, you know, that I really enjoy. But yeah, you know, nothing to write home about, that type of thing. And then finally gets like normal and easy. And it's like, okay, well, you know, now it's just not as much fun because it's not challenging anymore. So what now? Eventually you just get bored. It's like, well, if I get bored, well, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is right. But it's like a vacation in some ways. But vacations can be worse than just staying at home relaxing. In case in point, the camping trip. Oh man. Just making sure that nothing happens to the kids. That they don't leave the tent and out alone, you know, just, you know, the way that the tents were set up by my wife is not the optimal way for me, I think, to look after everyone. And it was like 86 degrees even at night, and it was just so hot, hard to sleep. Her brother went home to sleep since, you know, he lived close by. I stayed in the car with the dog. The dog was good at sleeping. Had to wake up 4 times throughout, you know, the night to go potty and poop. Went poop 4 times. You know, the kids would come in. You know, I told them if they get too hot, and you know, they could come back in the car. The AC's on. Very efficient car, a Prius V. You know, stuff like that. Finally, everyone woke up, except my son. My son was in the back seat. He didn't want to sleep in the tent. It was too hot. He fell asleep fine in his car seat. It was about 5 when the girls woke up, 6 when my son woke up, and my wife's brother came to help out for breakfast, and I had an extra 3.5 hours of sleep. That's all I needed. And the rest of the day, but it was so tiring. It's like we couldn't do another night of it, but the kids thoroughly enjoyed it. I asked them if they were going to go camping again, would they want to sleep in a cabin or a tent, and all of them said cabin. So they enjoy camping, just not the sleeping in the tent part. Maybe in a nice camping, like a cabin. It would have been different, you know, if the temperatures were nice. Like if it was, like, because they like swimming during the day. Like if it went up to like 90s, but like most of the day, you know, it was like when they didn't want to swim anymore, it was like a cool 72 degrees with some breeze. And then at nighttime, it goes down to like maybe the like 58 to like 62 degrees. You know, it's where you can keep cool but not be, you know, it doesn't get too stuffy and hot inside the tent. That would have been great. I think they would be like, yeah, let's go camping again. I want to sleep in a tent. But when you get that bad, you can't sleep, you want to constantly get cooled down, and you know, you're just sweaty and miserable, and you finally wake up, you know, a couple hours. You don't want to sleep, you know. I remember those days when I'm camping, I'm so exhausted and it's nice out. Like, I'll stay in the tent and sleep till it gets too hot in the tent, right? But when you have to wake up at 5 just because you don't want to sleep in that tent anymore and just get started with your day, yeah, you know things aren't so great as far as sleeping. Okay, that's it. It's 1:15. How long have I been talking? Let's see. 1 hour 20. Wow, time goes by fast. I think that's it. That's all I really want to say. All right, this time for reals. Have a good night. See you another time, and expect these important musings in the future, and some silly things like facts and truth in other ones. Isn't that so backwards? I mean, all the seriousness isn't really that serious. It's all the playful, good stuff that's important, right? We get that mixed up, and I think that's what Alan Watts was trying to say in a lot of his talks. It's like, and it's not serious; it's just sincere. He had a better way of speaking, but I think I have a different way of imagining, so I just can't put it into words is the problem. I could probably try doing artwork, but I know I'm not very good art-wise. My thing is storytelling, piecing things together in certain ways to, hey, wow, that was that and this was there, and got them formulated that way. It's not important. Everybody could do it. It's just everyone likes to play up to their strengths, that type of thing.